Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair, and it is still
the summer of Sylvester Stallone!
And on that note, it is time that I finish what I started. So let's get to reviewing Rambo. No, not First Blood. First Blood Part 2. Or the fourth movie. The fourth. Yeah, I know, everyone has made that joke. But it's really hard to avoid it when everyone has to point that out. I mean, even the fucking box has the fourth fucking movie written on it. Rambo is set many, many years after Rambo 3. Partly because it has been such a long time between films, but also the fact that Stallone did in fact age in the meantime kind of forced their hand, you could say. However, this is the first time that Stallone was actually directing a movie in the franchise. Being an experienced screenwriter, Stallone did help with the scripts in the previous iterations, but now with the full power of the director's seat, he can finally give it the true vision he has always had for Rambo. And what vision did Stallone have for Rambo? Fucking horrifying! While the second and third movies in the franchise were balls-to-the-walls action and the glory of explosions, the first one is a much more cerebral experience, not just through these headshots even. It feels like Rambo tried to take the series back in that direction where war was not the solution but the problem, and is depicted in a very dark and not at all positive light. But how bad could it be? Let's take a look at Rambo and find out. The film opens with, you know what, never mind what it opens with, I don't even know if I can really get away with showing that. It's... Okay, you want to know what it is? It's dead people. It's real, live, dead people. Well, maybe not live. The point is, they're real people who are really dead and really have their heads cut off and are really suffering from rigor mortis, and it's really fucked up and really disturbing. Really. So let's skip ahead to the title. While the movie was just called Rambo in the US, and indeed the box I have just says Rambo, we are in fact watching the extended cut. And the best way the filmmakers felt to extend the cut and show that to us was by extending the title. How lovely, when the actual movie starts, it's completely separated from that opening. At least in the extended cut. Cody tells me that the regular version leads into people being shot to death, which sounds a bit smoother transition. However, here we find out that in all this time, Rambo moved yet again to another bumfuck country out in the sticks of the world, and spends his free time catching snakes. And I really hope that Rambo is sailing off to Jurassic Park where we can see him punch out a T-Rex. But then Rambo couldn't babysit his co-workers, who insist on trying to be the first gruesome deaths of the movie. Too bad, it's aquatic life instead. Sadly, I don't think they'll be incorporating bow fishing to any Rambo video games anytime soon. It's unfortunate because it would have been a better game than both 2014's Rambo the video game and Fishing Planet. After Rambo presses E to dock, we see his snake collections for a local tourist attraction, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the kind to chop up, cook, and serve the snakes afterwards, which would explain the need for a good supply of cobras. However, this normal, everyday 9-to-5 job is interrupted by the arrival of the whitest people on Earth, a church group from Colorado, led by Michael Burnett, played by Paul Schultz.
We're all volunteers who, around this time of year, bring in medical supplies, medical attention, prayer books, and support for the Karen tribes people.
So you can teach them that sex, the one positive thing that they actually have access to out here, is inherently evil. And don't eat shrimp. Brilliant.
It's thinking like that that keeps the world the way it is.
Fuck the world.
I would do the end credits joke, but it's far too tempting to actually end the review, so let's just keep going. While Mike begs Rambo to take them upriver to Burma, the war-torn nation with a shockingly low proliferation of Bibles, he declines, citing the pilgrimage as pointless and the journey as far too dangerous. Problem is they have a blonde with them, Sarah Miller, played by Julie Benz. You know, Rita from Dexter. I guess he has to cave now.
Go home.
Not doing the end credits gag, Rambo, just cut it out. After we take a break from this to watch a Burmese relay race... Hey! Fuck, and I thought participation ribbons were bad. We find that the Americans have not packed up and left, much to Rambo's dismay.
Do you believe that people are put here to die for no reason? Or believe in giving time to something other than yourself? I mean, do you believe in anything?
Do you believe in magic? In a young girl's heart, how the music can free her whenever it stops. Nope, still no fucks are given. I guess then she'll really have to leave. Or
I know you don't like us.
I never said that.
Well, it looks that way.
she could just refuse to leave. Still, lady, here's the hint. Catch it!
We need to go and help these people.
Who you help?
Crap, I never thought about that part.
Does it matter?
Yeah, it matters.
Fuck, I gotta think of something else to say.
We believe all lives are special.
Don't bring that attitude to Twitter unless you really want to get lynched. Rambo gives a rousing speech about how humans are just warlike by nature, and war sucks, and killing each other is just a fact of life, and patriotism is a lie, and pretty much every anti-war talking point you can think of.
And nobody tells the truth. God's gonna make all that go away?
I'm surprised you need an atheist to point this out to you, but he is God. She starts to leave, but of course doesn't, instead pointing out, haha, Rambo really does give a shit. Otherwise he would have taken them to the war zone. His classic reverse psychology makes a man break down and say, fuck it, I'll take you and your friends to Burma. The journey takes them well into the night, where of course they run into a problem.
What is it? Who are they?
Burmese pirates. Tell everyone to stay down, don't make a sound.
Right, so how long until they get spotted? You don't really expect this movie to avoid any and all opportunities for action scenes, do you? Problem is, while the pirates figure out what there is for them to loot, they realize there's a blonde white girl here to rape! Rambo refuses to turn her over, but they haven't raped all movie and refuse to let this opportunity pass. So instead... Fucking hell, the older Stallone gets, the more he relies on that aimbot. Mikey McDumbass objects instantly to Rambo saving their lives, but Sarah begs him not to turn the boat around. Realizing if he doesn't comply, she'll keep bugging him for at least 2 weeks. He brings them the rest of the way to their destination.
I know you think what you did was right, but taking a life is never right.
I'm starting to side with Mike on this one, to tell you the truth. I would have much rather seen the pirates murder the fuck out of these assholes. They aren't going to use the river to leave, though, which means Rambo's work here is done. That means he can go home and... He... Maybe he's doing like a Viking funeral for these guys? What the fuck you do that for? Everyone loves the Rambo knife! No? Well, our missionaries seem to be doing well, providing all those medical treatments and prayer books.
Miss Sarah? Actually, we already have religion.
Y'all motherfuckers need Jesus! But they actually got to do what they set out to do. Good for them. It's just too bad they were trying to do it in a Rambo movie. But they're important characters, so I'm sure they'll be... Holy fuck! There's plenty of kids, and kids always survive the movie. Fucking hell! So the oppressive army rolls in and just murders the fuck out of pretty much everybody. They capture young men to fill their ranks, which you would think would lead to an army that doesn't follow orders very well and has a high chance to rebel, but not so it seems. However, when they check their fire and realize there are a few Americans still alive, they capture them. Not to recruit into their army or hold for ransom or anything like that. They just capture them to have some boxed Americans to, kick around. I guess bad guys just have to keep up appearances. Rambo ain't got time for this, though. He has to have flashbacks covering the entire Rambo series, while at the same time ignoring the events of those movies.
Always going to be tearing away at yourself until you come to terms with what you are. Until you come full circle.
Full circle being accepting that he is the world's greatest badass super soldier. At least that's how it was in Rambo 3. They kind of change it in this movie. Joy. And they show the alternate ending to First Blood where Rambo makes Troutman shoot him. Okay, how the fuck could he possibly be having a flashback about that? To be fair, maybe that was just a weird dream thing, considering he wakes up. Still would make it the only part of the dream that didn't actually happen, but no bother. It turns out that it's been 10 days since the group Rambo took to Burma was supposed to return to Colorado, but no one has heard anything from them. Thus, they need Rambo's help. as a taxi service because it's a completely different group of mercenaries that have been hired to track down and rescue the Americans. But hey, he's back in action and must craft a new knife. Yeah, that really gets into the Rambo mood watching the man crudely smack together a cleaver machete. I'm sure it could have just geared up to go out and kick ass and taken out the Rambo knife and been all sentimental with that, but he threw it in the boat. Because. Point is, though, he's not the action hero. That denotation goes to our new group of assholes. Interesting, well-written characters. We've got Jake LaMotta as Reese, the country boy, Graham McTavish as Lewis, the Gordon Ramsay.
What the fuck am I doing here?
Reynaldo Gallegos as Diaz, the apathetic, Mather Mazden as Schoolboy, the newbie who still has some semblance of work ethic, and Tim Kang as Enju, the miscellaneous.
You really are an uptight bastard, aren't you?
I'm a film critic, and I'm sorry, the last 3 movies in the franchise kind of spoiled me.
I've seen it all before, and I'm not impressed.
Bitch, the motherfucker ran a tank into a helicopter! When they arrive, this time within 1 day, the Mercs are not happy to learn that only 2 rebels will be helping them, and Major Tint has an army 100 strong. For some reason, though, they don't feel like bringing along a Rambo to even the odds.
He's the boatman. He stays with the fucking boat. I want a white man on and not some fucking dink.
I'm surly, hate the main character, and racist. Now where's a woman for me to punch?
Now who's got explosives? Tombstone.
None. Found a C-form primer.
I've got a claymore.
I got a rock. So they move out and leave the main character behind. Their first stop, the village where the people were last seen.
Man, I have seen some shit. Brother, I ain't never seen no shit like this.
And look at the bright side, at least you didn't have to watch him do it. Never mind then. Of course, the Mercs can't help the civilians, as giving away their position will surely mean that everyone will be killed. But wouldn't you know it? Rambo refuses to leave the movie just in time. Okay, now can I point out that there were, like, 4 bad guys and 6 well-armed good guys? Ambushing them would have been very easy. I'm sure Rambo took care of the problem in less than a minute, but do they really need him for that? Lewis figures the people are all dead and says, fuck it, they should go home. Of course, Rambo realizes we're barely past the 50-minute mark and there's plenty of runtime left to go. So after a short threat to his life, Lewis begrudgingly agrees to keep looking. As it turns out, the army has a nearby compound, which our group makes it to with little trouble. Fortunately for them, pretty much all the bad guys are distracted by a performance of sorts with 4 women dancing. They're really not going there, are they? They did! They went there! It's a rape party! It's just lovely. Well, of course, 9 out of 10 people do enjoy gang rape. Maybe I could look on the bright side. It's not like they could make the bad guys any more reprehensible. Except their leader is a pedophile! Major Pati Tint likes little boys. That's just great. What the fuck could they do now? Shit, making them Nazis would be an improvement! While the rest of the surviving hostages are rescued, Sarah is taken off to a shack to, you guessed it, get raped. Fortunately, though, Rambo has come to save the day. By far, not the most disturbing thing we've seen. But everyone else left as their scheduled rescue time was up, meaning Rambo has to escape with Sarah alone. Fortunately, the schoolboy stayed behind with his ridiculously OP sniper rifle. If a bullet could knock a person back like that, then the kick the gun would have would knock the shooter back like that as well. That morning, after Tint... well, they find the hostages are missing, and even though they weren't asking anything for them and didn't seem to have any reason whatsoever to keep them like they did, are pissed. Thus, the search is on.
I feel like all this is my fault.
Probably because it is. Hell, if Rambo had refused to take you there again, you'd have just stomped your feet until he complied. Again. No bother. At least the Mercs and friends got away. But we have to have Lewis pay for being the caricature of the worst human being ever. This halts their progress in a hurry, but Rambo gets an idea. Because their pursuers are using tracking dogs, he can take some clothes with Sarah's scent and provide a diversion while everyone else escapes. Fortunately, he is able to do this fast enough that he even gets to set up a pretty elaborate trap for the bad guys to find. The dog found a rag with some wire wrapped around it, and the people we're looking for obviously aren't here. What to do? Fuck it, grab the wire. Whew. I've seen overkill in my time, but do you realize that out of the 100-strong or so army, that explosion only took out like 5 guys? This means there's plenty of them left to find the main group anyway and recapture them. Well, that escape attempt went nowhere. Of course, I can't help but notice Mike looks a hell of a lot like Carl Pilkington in that shot. You can just imagine him sitting there like, God damn it, Ricky, this isn't funny anymore.
What do we do?
Nothing we can do.
But don't worry, all the characters we actually care about are safe, so who gives a fuck anyway? Rambo, that's who, the man with a big fucking turret to save the day. Along with Schoolboy's help, of course.
Double kill.
This gives us our climactic action sequence, with the mercs running around and killing people left and right, while Rambo sits in one place with his giant-ass gun just mowing everyone the fuck down. Even Mike, taking life is never right, Burnett, murders the fuck out of a soldier with a goddamn rock. Now, this whole sequence was said to be inspired by a soldier who did actually hold off an advancing army with a 50 cal machine gun turret, though it's also said Stallone was supposed to be carrying the thing around in the scene. Problem is, the gun was like over 100 fucking pounds. Stallone could carry it, he just couldn't really maneuver around with it very quickly, so they said, fuck it, leave it on the car. Even though the heroes seem to be doing well enough, the rebels pour in to save the day alongside them. This results in more explosions, death, gunfire, and mannequins. Fuck it, just makes them easier to kill. So happy ending! Rambo and the rest take out the Burmese forces, the surviving Americans survived, and the rebels are left to clean up the mess. Now that that's over and done with, Rambo can do what he was always meant to do. Raise some horses out in the country with his father, who it's never explained if the man is alive or not. But fuck it, it's not like that many other people survived this movie anyway. So, that was Rambo. And, fucking nightmare material. The movie is graphic, gory, disturbing, dark, horrifying, and I believe that's exactly what they were going for. In that sense, good job, but holy hell. It seems like after First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3, they tried to make the fourth Rambo movie closer in spirit to the first, but overcompensated way too much and wound up with something that's really hard to find entertaining. It's not the fun kind of action like Tango and Cash. You don't have over-the-top situations and cartoony villains you love to hate. You got war. Terrifying, brutal, cruel, and violent war. The bad guys aren't charismatic, they're just disgusting human beings. The whole thing is very mean-spirited and is probably going to leave you unsettled, which I think they meant to do, but still. Let me at least point this out, though. The plot is really forced. Rambo has no reason to go to Burma. A few people show up and want to go, but shouldn't. Rambo still doesn't want to go, but they refuse to leave. The shit he knew would happen happens, and now he goes, but they don't want him to go with the mercs. So now he refuses to leave, even though up until the final battle, Rambo doesn't really do anything the rest of the cast couldn't. Overall, Rambo is a very cruel film, which knows war is hell, and is hell-bent on showing that to the audience. Problem is that doesn't help much when it comes time for the movie to be entertaining. I will say that if you are interested in dark, gritty, no-nonsense cinema, Rambo is the film for you. Not so much for me, but I'm not the be-all, end-all of interpretations. I really don't like the use of actual dead people in the movie, though. Not only that, it seemed downright unnecessary. The idea of doing so bothers the hell out of me morally. However, I'm here to be objective, not bitch about morals, so for the quality of the film and the overall plot, I'd say Rambo comes in at 2 miscellaneous horrifying things I really don't want to bring up again, out of 5. I would consider it the weakest film in the series based on the plot and motivations alone, but holy fuck, that was a dark movie. I hope after next week's review I can stop having nightmares about it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado, and remember, don't throw away your knife. You're just gonna have to forge a new one a week later.
need to go and help these people.
Who you helped?